Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Now, this is a, although again you may be aware about this Amendment Act, I think 2002 or 1. This, it has fixed total number of seats in Lok Sabha. Till 2026. As per 19 census. It is Constitutional Amendment Act. Don't read other way around. Although we have taught, but why we are discussing this time? It has one innovative aspect. Debate recently has come, so that you should know. We have been expecting this question also. Already we have asked this question in our test program. 84th Amendment Act and its future federal challenges of India. You know already about delimitation. You may have studied about delimitation. So there are two types of, let's say, delimitation. One delimitation is that only constituencies are readjusted as per the changes in population, so that each constituency has equal, let's say, that proportionate number of population. Means there is, it is called rationalization of constituencies, delimitation. Second delimitation is called that seats are reviewed as per change in population. Since each seat in Lok Sabha is on the basis of population, therefore when there is an increase in any population, decrease, accordingly seats will also be adjusted. So seats adjustments have been freezed since 1971. Means last time when seats were reviewed, that was by 42nd Amendment Act 1971. Since then seats have not been reviewed, rather constituencies have been rationalized. And this has been done, let's say that again by 84th Amendment Act, that till 2026 seats will not be reviewed, and thereafter the census comes. So that will be 2031, and in that 2031 census, as per this, we should review the seats. Now, why it was done? Why it has been done? It has been, why? So basically it has been done to avoid any complaint or complaints for underrepresentation, population asymmetry. So since we have, let's say, we have asymmetrical federalism. The basics I'm telling just means basics related to 84, which you may be aware. So it is asymmetrical federalism. We have been expecting also a question on asymmetrical federalism as a term. Since we have asymmetrical federalism, let's say that UP, Bihar, and then we have Tamil Nadu, Kerala, right? We have Goa. You can see that how the states. So even if on the one hand, let's say they have huge population, so North India has huge population. The North India population, southern states, they have achieved replacement level. This was expected that population policy also comes into debate. You should know that population policy 2000. So that was also enacted. See this. So population policy was also enacted that by 2026 we will be able to achieve stabilization. Northern states will achieve stabilization in population, replacement level, and then we should review. But still UP and Bihar, let's say that, so their rate of growth is higher than replacement level. So that topic we have also taught. So their rate is still more than this 2.1%. So they have not achieved. So that is how, let's say, background is that it was brought so that by 2026 there will be balance in population, then we can review. Hence that time there will be less challenge for this asymmetrical nature, like they will not gain more and they will not lose more. What happens? If it is reviewed, suppose seats are restructured, if seats readjusted, so who will get? UP, Bihar. They will get over 60 seats more, and they will lose Tamil Nadu, Kerala. They will lose, let's say that, 16 seats. Yes. Already they have complained. Already there is a north-south divide. Right. Then again, let's say that when population, so this is how, let's say that it is reviewed. So this will happen. So we want to avoid, we want that they should reduce their population so that they gain less, and let's say that when they will gain less, the gap will be less. So then let's say that southern states will not complain. That was the background. Then what is debate now? So we'll come back to this. Let's take debate. The present debate. Good debate, by the way. So democracy and federalism. Democracy is based on representation. So representation means basically MPs right? MPs, MLAs should effectively. Federation means autonomous. Now, before I tell further, let me tell question that whether democracy and federalism are mutually supportive or repulsive. This is a bit innovation because when I taught this topic for polity, so I did not teach this perspective. So recent times, once again, articles have been written from this perspective, which is a good insight or perspective, you can say. Now let's come to this. Now, for democracy, what we have, we can have, legislature. In this legislature, seats are largely on the basis of population. Now, if you see seats, let's say that on the basis of population, so it is like, let's say in UP, one MP has 2 million people representing constituency, and in Karnataka, that MP is representing point, I do not remember, it is mentioned, let's say I'm forgetting that, whatever the million, 0.69, you can say that, and you can tell me also. So this means basically one MP in southern states so represent less number of people, but an MP in northern states represent average 2 million people. And this is the standard. Karnataka state standard is also same as followed in case of I guess UK or UK, US. It is like this. Means an MP should not have how much population an MP should represent, because it is a representative democracy. So when it is a representative democracy, so how much population an MP should represent? So certainly an MP should represent a number of people which can be communicable, means they can be communicated, and MP can, let's say that constituency can be managed, developed. There should be some limitation. This has been brought. So in Karnataka, let's say that less population, in northern states more population, and then let's say that it is not being reviewed, means this problem of democracy This is a problem in democracy. It is not being reviewed because of this. Let me tell a bit more elaborate. So, in let's say that ki parliament, right, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, the states have representation. So here let's say that ki northern states, southern states, their representation. Similarly, let's say that ki northern states, southern states. This. So already northern states have edge. They are underrepresented on the one hand, but when they are let's say that ki overrepresented, or are they overrepresented, it is asymmetrical. And then it is also not good that ki in one state one MP is having 2 million people, and in another state an MP has let's say that ki less than 1 million people. So it will not be considered as a good example of any democracy. But this problem of democracy we are not addressing because of protecting the federal polity. Okay. The federal polity is that. So basically the Rajya Sabha represents states. And seats are as per their population. This. And we are not, let's say that we have freezed the number of seats because the southern states, so they will complain that they are losing more. So then there will be imbalance in federal polity. There will be further imbalance in federal polity. So to not make further imbalance in federal polity, we are not, let's say, reviewing this imbalance, the democracy. Hence, it seems that the federal aspect is not mutually supportive to democracy, or democracy is not mutually supportive to federal aspect. Although ideally democracy should be mutually supportive to federal polity. A democracy should mutually support federal polity. Means because democracy should be not centralized, there should be decentralization. There should be two units of government, system of government. Let's say one at union, another at state, or one at federal, another at province that you say. And they should autonomously share power. But when let's say that you have federal polity, because of federal constraint, the problems of democracy we are not addressing. And in this way, let's say that federal polity is affecting quality of democracy, quality of representativeness. Are you able to understand? So then what should be done? Basically, it is nothing but manifestation of asymmetrical federal aspect. As long as there is asymmetrical federal polity, it will not only affect quality of federal polity but also democracy. Can we say?
Yes, sir.
See, if you read the articles, there are so many points provided. बट देखो ये कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नहीं है कि हम ये पॉइंट लिख देंगे तो उसका सोल्यूशन हो जाएगा. तो दोज पॉइंट्स कैन बी रिटन फॉर द सेक ऑफ राइटिंग एन आंसर. दिस इज व्हाट कि कंसेंसस शुड बी बिल्ट. सो दिस राज्यसभा, सो राज्यसभा लेट्स से दैट कि सीट्स means states should have greater representation in Rajya Sabha. Seats of Lok Sabha should be increased. So that should also be increased. So some points have been written what should be done. But I will tell you that the main solution is to make your federal polity symmetrical. This is the main solution. Other solutions are just incremental solutions. They will marginally address the problem of this. Means as long as we will not make our federal polity symmetrical, we will keep facing several problems, not one problem. And we may not be able to govern effectively. Means as a democracy, we may not be able to govern effectively. This we will say. So, although let's say this solution symmetrical, what is symmetrical federalism? The symmetrical federalism is that now you should know that when there will be this readjustment, when you go for readjustment, in fact let's say that they are maintaining certain international standard in terms of MPs and population. It means you have to create more seats. It shows more seats, as it is being said that UP will get 16 more seats. It is being underrepresented. So from democratic perspective, UP is underrepresented state. And from a federal perspective, they are underrepresented because they are a state. Not able to understand. See, from democracy perspective, MP should not represent 2 million persons. Certainly at least 1 million. It means 2 MP you can create. So you can see UP has 80 seats. So how many seats you can have? Right. Not certain, not 160, but let's say that. Right. So let's say that it gets, let's say that it can go to 100. Right. This anyhow. So the question is that it is from democratic perspective, it is called representation. That's why I wrote. Democracy, it is representative democracy. Representative democracy means there will be electorates and let's say elected heads, and that is how citizen will elect. So it should be representative, and representativeness has its own standard. This is what. Now let's say that it is a matter of one state. Now when you have, let's say there is a certain number of states, so their representation, states representation in, let's say, parliament, especially in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. So here states representation. So here let's say northern states are overrepresented, are more represented. Southern states are less represented. If you see in terms of MP and population, so northern states are underrepresented. Now if you see states in parliament, the southern states are less represented. Northern states are overrepresented because they have more seats vis-a-vis southern states. And both are not right. Both are not good for democracy and federal polity. This is the paradox this debate, recent debate has shown. Federalism versus democracy article has been written. Right. So this paradox is being shown. Then how this paradox can be addressed? Right. So you increase seats in Lok Sabha. This is one. This is one solution being said. Increase seats in Lok Sabha. So when you increase, yes.
Sir, irrespective of the population, why not the government has been not allotted the MP seats of a particular. Example, USA having the common power now, sir. Every state having the equal voting rights in any passing of bills.
Yes.
What is the behind of the logic? Our government has been not able to giving that type of power, sir. Irrespective of the population, it got common voting power in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, sir. If they given, there is no any debate on the state issues, na, sir. Equal power will get every state, na, sir.
See, there is no one solution. There is no one solution, let's say that.
Sir, here main thing only we are everyone is going to be debating more MP seats are going to be allotting. That is the main debate now, sir. Only for passing of bills and as well as to getting of the power in the central. That is the main criteria and political corridor. If pass the irrespective of the population and the voting capacity.
Now, if you talk, by the way, let's say, I was saying it is 1.1 million. And they have basically 0.6 million. Now, see, you have to understand this. If you take any country, including US, since US is ideal, suppose there are 50 states. So, whatever I don't know, the US, let's say that map geography, but whatever the states we have in US, whatever you can design, the first is that it's symmetrical, homogeneous. This, what homogeneous means? So 50 states will have more or less population. So not like UP and Goa, UP and Sikkim. Right. This is not. That is what we mean by symmetrical aspect. Right. So when states are symmetrical in terms of, let's say that their population, so then it addresses all problems almost. Second thing is that this population growth also, right? It's not one that you should have, let's say that even if you have population today, you divide all states and they have equal population. Tomorrow the state has a rapid growth. It will happen? The second factor is also this homogeneous in terms of their strength, their weakness, like in terms of, let's say, population growth. In terms of resources, but resource will be a different criteria. So then when, let's say that US House of Representatives and Senate, so then House of Representatives and Senate, let's say that they have seats. So what the seats? Seats, let's say on the basis of this, so there will be symmetrical aspect. There is no issue of this underrepresentation, overrepresentation. Although absolute level is not possible, but certainly not, it is not like this. UP has 80 seats and Sikkim, I do not know exactly, but Sikkim, let's say that is state. So that kind of things they do not have. Hence, there will not be, their democracy and federal polity will be mutually supportive. But ours is a country, let's say that, if you take in India, so union, or let's say that parliament, so union parliament, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, plus states, their representation means number of seats, let's say that. Although Lok Sabha is not meant for, but then it will have some basis, constituency. There should be some basis. So there, let's say, seats are divided, state-wise you can see the seats. Here again we have given we cannot, let's say that have this kind of system. If you have equal, that is how Punchi Commission recommends. The Punchi Commission has recommended that every state should have equal representation on the pattern of US. In fact, India can be the only country in which the upper house has seat allocation as per population, not equal number of seats. Only country. Great. Democratic state. So, but it seems to be, let's say that difficult to implement because Goa and Tamil Nadu, this is how they are objecting. They have objected in even GST Council कि Goa and Tamil Nadu, so they have equal number of votes. So when they are objecting in GST Council, it is Supreme Council. So where the problem lies? The problem lies in that if first की you population, तो हमें ये achieve करना होगा. Population growth, you stabilize, bring homogeneity. Second is that कि then symmetry area. So certainly let's say that कि other solutions are just incremental solutions. Like you go for reallocation of number of seats. The reallocation will further create asymmetry. And you cannot adopt that कि southern states would be given 2 seats per that million population and northern states would be given 1 seat per million population. ऐसा कोई equation तो लगेगा नहीं. So it is very obvious that कि when states are so, let's say that कि having such differences in terms of their geography, population, resources, unless you make them symmetrical, other problems, that other solutions that you are providing, they are just nothing but marginally they are trying to address the problem. The main problem is not addressed. So certainly let's say that the union should have more pressure building or work with northern states to reduce or contain their population. That should be the strategy. Although their population is also getting stabilized. So over a period of time, let's say after 20-30 years, that population can stabilize. So that can be one, let's say that we may address that one issue, but still it will remain asymmetrical. So other solutions which are being told in terms of, let's say, giving more representation of states in Rajya Sabha. The giving more representation of states in Rajya Sabha means what? Again, asymmetrical aspect. So they are the points for the sake of points. Or that is how it's a future challenge, तो simply you freeze it by 2026. तो उस समय पता नहीं कौन सा अमेंडमेंट एक्ट होगा, मान लो 120th अमेंडमेंट एक्ट, राइट. तो बाय ब्रिंगिंग 120th अमेंडमेंट एक्ट इसको बोल दो 2056, and most probably this is what is going to happen. Right.
Sir, because we are not going to match with the US federal structure, and also the given condition that fertility rate of the North India is near about the 3%.
3.8, I guess.
Right, sir. So we are not going to achieve even in the 2006 the
2026.
Yes, sir. So how we are going to achieve this asymmetrical aspect? How we are going to deal with this, sir?
See, if you want to write in answer or reply in interview, so then it will be the points written that we should work on reducing population in northern states, containing population, the central government through population policy, or reviewing the population policy. Second is that government, let's say that states consensus should be taken into consideration. Building states consensus whenever any matter related to union and states is central government decides. So there should be consensus building approach so that even small states should not feel marginalized, or there is no question of underrepresentation and overrepresentation. This next can be that this reallocation, the seats, let's increase the number of seats, that can also be tried in Lok Sabha. So when we increase the number of seats, in that way what will happen that even if UP or northern states get some of the seats, but southern states will at least not lose number of seats. So somehow for them it will remain status quo, so there will be less gap in terms of underrepresentation. So these things can be talked. But if you want to really find a solution, telling a solution, so you should tell that they can be also tried, but they will not bring effective solution. The effective solution will come only when we address the root cause of the problem. And that is called asymmetrical federal polity. And asymmetrical federal polity means recently again there was a news that whether we should go for a second state reorganization commission. And it is also an expected question. This you should know. So we are not bringing this topic because I already people know about state integration, state let's say that creation of states and how 1956 State Reorganization Act, thereafter then Telangana, other creation of states. Already you know that, and already you have. So it is not as challenging to make a view on that because by the end you will agree that yes, there should be State Reorganization Commission. And I let's say that highlight it again in this class or that class either directly or indirectly. Right. This will take us to another debate which again I do not want to focus much, but you should know that first let's say that a country, so when a country has to govern, or you can say govern, or let's say a democracy, anything you can name it. So how it will govern? Can it govern when there is a geographical asymmetry? This is a problem unsolved. Let's say that today or tomorrow the government will look into, the present government itself, New India you want to create. We want to make New India. So first let's settle with geography, not external, internal. So unless let's say geographically a country has symmetrical, let's say that states, the states having that symmetrical population geography, so it cannot be governed effectively. This is the first basic fundamental aspect. You can say first, second, third, whatever, it does not matter. But it is one such fundamental principle of governance of any state when it wants to govern effectively. If it is highly populated. Now what happens that you have it is the let's say that UP. So we say UP can house entire European Union, although I do not know exact population of European Union. Right. But it can take entire European Union. How much is the population of European Union? I don't think that it will be more than 20 crore. Anyhow, but the question is that should UP have such population? Right. Similarly, geographically, there is one state which is bigger than any state. And then you have a very small state, Sikkim, a small state, Goa. So we have created, now what we have created is states. So language, culture. So should language and culture become basis for creation of a state? Rather you should protect the language and culture, but not by creation of a state. नहीं तो 500 states create कर दो फिर. Right. Anyhow, it was a wrong development, but we do not want, certainly I don't want to go into this, otherwise it will drag us to different level. Means, see, protection of a language should not be the basis for creation of a state. Why not? Without creation of a state, language can be protected. So this we can say that. So, but we have developed this. It means, let's say there are some of the areas which are not appropriate. Like UP को पता है कि आपको this there is something called Jhansi. I cannot draw that कि how it goes, but something like, let's say that Jhansi areas in Uttar Pradesh, it goes in Madhya Pradesh, then means this is how you'll find that it kisses Madhya Pradesh, then comes back.
Yes, sir.
Right. Why it should be in that? Similarly, Bellary area you will find that in Karnataka. There are, let's say, Marathi speaking people in Karnataka.
Then now more than 60 years, the border is not declared, sir. They are fighting for only border.
Yes. So the question is this, let's say, why we allow, you have to understand this, we have allowed people to play with administrative structure and not allow the union to create a geographical division of the country in terms of creation of states in such a way that it is convenient for administration. It is mentioned in Article 1, states are created for administrative convenience. Where is that convenience? Rather, states are created for political convenience.
Also, we are more following to some extent language basis, sir, since 1950.
Yes, that is what the problem. That is how the problem, let's say that. The creation of states have been linked to language, culture, religion. A religion is not so, let's say, community. So then state is giving in to such demands. So when you give in to such demands, such a diverse country, we will not be able to create a administrative unit of the country which is, let's say, symmetrical for effective governance, and it will keep creating problems. It will keep creating problems in resolution of all matters, be it interstate council, be it GST council, be it finance commission, right? One day we will bring 15 finance commission, there we'll talk. So it will keep bringing those issues. And then, let's say that there is a saying, whether I don't know to what extent you will understand, certain problems should be solved at certain point of time, because in future you are going to face the next level of problems. Hence you have solved the problems which could have been solved at that moment. Then you are prepared to face the future new problems more effectively. Are you able to understand what I am saying? Right. देखो, when your basic concepts are not clear, so how can you appear in mains? You cannot appear in mains. So to appear in mains, your basics should be clear. Right. अब ये नहीं कि फेडरलिज्म भी पता नहीं है, फेडरलिज्म होता क्या है. So फिर आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस से क्या फायदा होगा? Answer writing practice, you will face next level of problem. Structuring of answer, quality of answer. Right. Writing answer within 3 hours. So they are next level of problems. So before you go for practicing answers, you should have cleared your basics. It is like this. So before state faces new challenges, let's say globalization is the new challenge. Right. Innovation is the new challenge. Right. Unification of market is the new challenge. So when state faces new challenges, but it has not solved all problems, it is still struggling to decide what should be the state boundary. So it cannot face those new challenges effectively. Like GST has been introduced, but federalism remains asymmetrical. The can GST be successful in asymmetrical federal structure? This we have to say. So even in a symmetrical federal structure, in Canada, let's say that Columbia state withdrew from its GST structure, means sale tax structure. So this we have to understand. This what we are trying to say. So without going into this, what I will say is that, or what you should know is that, it is a problem we have not tried to solve. That's why many a time I say that, see, leaders, prime minister, chief ministers, they should focus on vital problems of the states. What has happened is that they have started not day only, means since whatever last 30-40 years, their focus has been more about day-to-day problems. Day-to-day problems we are trying to solve. not vital problems of the country. They remain largely outstanding. Right? Means they should be solved by building consensus. It is quite achievable if you build consensus, but now is every state has its own, let's say that state behaves as if it is bigger than country. This kind of things, it is very difficult in present environment to have a second state reorganization commission. So since it is very difficult, so what we are trying to do? We are trying to find marginal solutions. Or we are prolonging the problems. But as a, means, let's say that as far as you as a civil service aspirant is concerned, your views should be just, because we have to write and move ahead, isn't it? We don't have to face it. So simply you should say that the ultimate solution lies in creation of a second reorganization commission, so that there can be symmetrical division of states, right, in place of asymmetrical. Other steps can bring short-term relief, but they cannot provide solution. And that is how we can tell on this. Yes, Bundelkhand area and other.
Sir, this is the root cause of many problems, like in many front, like economic, political, administrative, policy implementation challenges. So we should focus on this reorganization. So like government is not focusing on, even not debating on this matter.
That is how we try to tell. Means other people also may be trying to tell, not only we tell. We generally try to tell that. When we talk, basically when we teach the conventional topics, so there we keep saying that, see, the governments are meant to address the vital problems, main problems, the future problems. But government are, somehow, you can say embroiled, I will say, they are embroiled in day-to-day problems. And then people think that means day-to-day problems, short-term, let's say that gain, etc. And people are happy by this. So, but it is a kind of loss to the future growth of the country. As I told simple that, because to grow means a country to grow, it should have some basic standards, some basic fundamentals. We are trying to grow without solving those basic, let's say, problems of governance. Good that still we are growing to that level. But just imagine that when you will be able to solve such problems, how long, means how faster we can have growth and development. So, but politics has built an aspiration. It is the politics. So which kind of politics builds aspiration? The politics builds aspirations of language, culture, region, right? Son of soil, जिसको political culture बोलते हैं, हालांकि वो GS में we don't have that much, but it is called parochial political culture. Right? So we have a parochial political culture where, let's say that people will feel happy if you talk about their caste benefit. लाइक से कि फिर से रिजर्वेशन आ गया है डिबेट में, ओबीसी रिजर्वेशन, और अब तो ये बोला जा रहा है कि अब लिमिट हटा दो. मतलब सोचो, वो मद्रास हाई कोर्ट के टाइम से 1960s, फिर इंदिरा साहनी 1992, उसके बाद और ब्ला ब्ला क्या क्या केस नहीं आया, राइट. और यहाँ तक डिबेट यही चलता रहा कि सीलिंग होना चाहिए, सीलिंग ऑफ 50%. नाउ नेक्स्ट 50 ईयर्स हो गया शायद, मतलब उससे ज़्यादा हो गया. नेक्स्ट 50 ईयर्स डिबेट यही चलेगा कि 50% हटा दो. Where is the job? Nobody is debating how to create job. Why Parliament does not have a debate on creating job? What Parliament has debate? It has debate that we should remove the ceiling. Right. And for that ceiling we have fought in the courts like anything. तो इट इज व्हाट, एक कहावत है, बिजी फॉर नथिंग। मतलब सारा रिसोर्स वेस्ट हो गया। एनी हाउ, this is how I will conclude it. These debates are endless debate. That's why I say that works done by national leaders, the national leaders should focus on national problems, and state government should focus on state problems, and that's why 84th Amendment is going to emerge as challenge.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.